Hello and welcome. I'm Alex Mitchell, and we're in Overtime, the show that goes beyond the headlines in the world of sports. We have a compelling show in store for you tonight. First, the child abuse case at Penn State will go down as one of the worst scandals in the history of sports. To get the full implications, I sat down with NCAA football analyst Ed Ingles. And then, after a rough 8-8 season, the Jets start training camp, and our own Cord Lehman visited with head coach Rex Ryan to discuss the upcoming season. And later on, we'll have a story about the amazing breakout year for the Mets right-hander R.A. Dickey, who is taking the spotlight in the MLB, and he's going to share a secret with our own Charlie Maizano. And finally, we take a look back at a broadcaster with 6 decades in the business. Reporter Brendan May chatted with legendary broadcaster Ed Ingles. We're going to take a short break now, and we'll be right back with these stories. I'm Alex Mitchell, and we're in Overtime. And welcome back to Overtime. A 61-year legacy, ruined, all due to a child abuse scandal. And after much turmoil, this week, the NCAA has released their sanctions on Penn State. To find out what this really means to the program, I sat down with NCAA analyst Ed Ingles. The NCAA has fined Penn State $60 million, banned them from postseason play for 4 years, and revoked all of Joe Paterno's wins since 1998. Now, since none of the players had anything to do with the allegations or convictions, is this right on the NCAA's part?
Well, first off, they're dealing with uncharted waters. This is a horrific crime. It had nothing to do with what goes on the football field. So you're in murky waters. I think the people they should have gone after a little harder were the people that were involved in terms of running the scam. Joe Paterno and the 3 administrators who did a cover-up here. I think those are the people you really have to concentrate on. And I think while they can't give them penalties, that's a matter of the court, I think what they should have done is fine Penn State for 3 years, $180 million. I think that's the first thing they should have done. I think the fact that what they've done to Paterno's legacy is, I'm okay with that. But I think where they maybe missed the boat is coming down hard on the program to the players of the sanctions they imposed. These players had nothing to do with that. And this is a state university where many students from the state of Pennsylvania attend. And I think to denigrate the whole university like that is difficult. That's going to be something going to take a long time to recover from.
Now, last week, Penn State dismantled their statue of Joe Paterno out by the football field, basically erasing his legacy. Do you think this is right on Penn State's part?
Yeah, I think that was the right thing to do. I think they should have done that to Joe Pa, because he disgraced himself. If it's true that he knew what was going on and covered up the sex abuse scandal of Sandusky, I think that was appropriate. The thing I'm wondering what they're going to do about the other thing that bears his name. There's a library where he raised and contributed $60 million that still bears his name. Usually in those situations where somebody gives all the kind of money, they get to keep their name on it. So I'm kind of interested to see what the university is going to do about that, how they're going to handle that. And I'm also all right with the fact that what gets sticky to you, take all the wins away from him, but then everybody else changes their record. The team that lost to him 3 times now becomes a winner 3 times. So in my mind, he's still the all-time winningest football coach, no matter what you do.
So now for the players who've just found out that they cannot go to a bowl game for 4 years for incidents that they had nothing to do with, what do they do now?
Well, that's a tough situation. See, they're being penalized for something they had nothing to do, and that troubles me. The probation for 4 years, no bowl games. I think it would be more justified to give them a 1-year probation, maybe 2, but to wreck the program and wreck these young people come in, because you've got not just freshmen coming in, you've got players who've been there 3, 4 years. Now, they can't. It's not easy for them to transfer and play 1 more year. I think that's unfair to them. I think they're being unfairly punished, the players who are there, and they got to wear the scarlet letter, really, of what happened there when they had nothing to do with it. That's what troubles me. What are you doing with those players that really had no act of dealing with this thing and being involved? Yeah, you penalize them.
And finally, as a school, a community, and a program, what does Penn State do and where do they go from here?
Well, it's tough, you know. There's a lot of people at Penn State who make money off the football Saturdays. 7 Saturdays a year, there's a lot of shops and businessmen who make a living off that. They're going to be damaged by this because the program most likely will not draw the attendance it has been drawing. It is a state school. To diminish it in the way it has been diminished really makes it tough for the people living there. People want to go to Penn State, people who've been to Penn State, now they got to bear the scars of this. And that makes it very difficult for the community, for the people who go to Penn State, people who've been at Penn State, the alumni, and those thinking about going in. It changes the whole culture there and makes it much more difficult, leaves a very uncomfortable situation, makes it much more difficult for people to deal with that. And that's something they're going to have to work through. I think, again, there should have been a little more sensitivity to that problem, too.
Ed also told me that the sanctions should be more directed at the administration and coaching staff of the team instead of harming the program and the players who are not involved with the scandal at all. Coming up next, Cord Lehman speaks to Rex Ryan about what he thinks of next season and how the Jets will do. I'm Alex Mitchell, and we're in overtime. What's going on, Long Island? I'm Alex Mitchell, and this is the Long Island Sports Desk. After capturing another LIC and proving that they're one of the best teams in America, West Islip was trying to round out their season in the state tournament. In the semis, they would face a very tough team from Section 2, Niskayuna. First quarter, West Islip down 1-0. Tom Moore fires the equalizer into the net. Score tied at 1. West Islip ball. Tom Moore to Brendan Smith. Rips a rocket, giving West Islip the 2-1 lead. Smith had 2 goals and an assist in the game. Third quarter now, West Islip up 5-4. Brendan Smith finds Tommy Moore for his second goal of the game. Moore with 2 goals and 2 assists. Now that's amore, ladies and gentlemen. West Islip up 6-4. Nick Appointe, he'll do it by himself as he roofs it top shelf. 9-6, West Islip the final. As this was part of a 4-goal run by the Lions, West Islip is back in the state finals for the 3rd time in 4 years. For West Islip, they'll face Ithaca in the state final, looking for their first state title since 2010. With your Sports Desk update, I'm Alex Mitchell.